Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? This is Dorothy, and this is Dorothy's blog. This is where I come to tell my story every week or every other week. And like I said yesterday, I've been telling it a lot this week, and I'm going to be doing that until I get busy again. So let's just go there. So today I'm going to continue with my story, but I told you yesterday that I was done with the church story. You know, it's not something I really want to talk about because I am a church girl. I love church from the beginning of my life. I love to go to church. I love to, do everything about church. But once I discovered that church is no longer church, I had to, I had to do something about it, and that's why I stopped. I did not stop because I don't know God anymore. I don't love God anymore, but I stopped because it's better and safer that way. And if you're still going to church, that's okay if you're able to find a good church. But if you see any sign that your church is not a good one, you need to take a walk. Okay? Just go away. Don't worry about what the pastor will say. Trust me, I was so close to all the pastors I encountered in my church journey, but nothing stopped me when I wanted to leave. I left, not minding what they would say. So if you know you're going to a bad church and you see the traits there, you see the signs, please, please, please do not waste any more time. Just find a place, find time to leave and take care of yourself. You are not compelled to go to church. Church is not the only source of help. You can talk to God by yourself. You can also see or get another church to go to. But as for me, I have I don't feel like it anymore. I don't feel like it anymore. And with what I've gone through in my life, I get irritated easily. I just since my mind has been made, since the time that I got my mind messed up with all the problem I went through in America, I just don't have that patience of staying to listen to any trash. Once I suspect anything is not good for me, I take my walk. I don't wait. So please try and help yourself. If you know you are there and it's not a good place, find your way to leave. Okay? Don't be scared of anything. Just pray. Be sure you're praying. Be sure you're doing the right thing, and they will not be able to attack you. Even when they try, they will never be able to reach you because you have a shield covering you. All right. So, having said all that, I'm going to jump into the story of today. So, today I'm going to be talking about this family that I got married to, my ex husband's family. I'm going to be talking about them because I have not really talked about these people. And it's so sad because I sometimes my ex will call and apologize for all he did and will try to push the blame to his family. I said no, you can blame them 100%. If somebody is forcing you or somebody forces you to do evil and you accept to do that evil, that means you have evil in you already. So don't tell me, oh, because they asked me to do it, I had to do it because of them. We just came into the country, we don't know anything. So whatever they told me, I had to. No, 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 no way. And I tell him that all the time. Whenever he calls to talk and he, talks down the lane of apologizing, I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not true. You decided to get you to throw away the gold that God gave to you. Because trust me, guys, I am a good person. Even if nobody says it, I know for a fact, and everybody around me knows for a fact that I'm a good person. So if God gave my type of woman to you, and because of American green card, you decided to throw me out, then that's on you. That's on you. And he has always been telling me, stop making these videos. I'm like, you have no control over me anymore. Just be lucky that I'm not even saying everything. Because I don't know why a whole man will lose his first child, because that was his first child with me, will lose his first child to another person. Lost your child. Lost your child to another family. And you still have the boldness to apologize to me. I said, no, you don't need to apologize to me. Go for your child. Go and get your child. If it's DNA you want, because this couple that took my child told him that the child is not even his, that I confided in them that the baby was from someone else. And that's why I wanted to get rid of the baby. And when I think about all this, it just brings me to wow. Because I don't understand how people can just sit down and cook all kinds of lies and then tell them without even any remorse, without even feeling pity, without even feeling like what I'm doing is wrong. So that's why I told him, I said, if someone forced you into doing the wrong thing, you can't blame that person. It only means that you have wrongness in you in the first place. So how I met these people was just crazy. Crazy. I'll say it's crazy because I never met them before. I mean, the ones in America, I didn't know them. I didn't know anything about them. He himself did not even tell me he had family in America. He didn't. When we did our traditional marriage in the village, my mother asked a lot of questions. My father asked a lot of questions. Even before the traditional marriage, whenever my parents saw him, they were eager. They were like, they wanted to know who he really was. They didn't want me to fall into any trap because I already had my first experience. So they didn't want me to fall into anything. So they tried as much as possible to make sure that he was right, regardless of the fact that they did most of the pushing. They were like, get married, get married. If somebody's coming for you, just get married. And he was good at pretending then too, because I don't know how else I would have fallen for him. He was very good at pretending. This man was a good person at that time when we were still in Togo. He was good. There was nothing. We didn't have any quarrels. We didn't have any fights. We didn't have anything because it was just us. He claimed he had nobody in America. So when he kept pressurizing me about us going to America, I was like, okay, what is really in this America? Because I used to come to America then and go back home. So I'm like, why do you want to stay in America? He said, oh no, that's an opportunity for him to go there and just buy goods and come back, because he had a warehouse where he sells clothes. So it was just like, it would be an opportunity for me to go there and get goods and come back. And what do I know? I believed him. So when we finished our traditional marriage, we went back to Togo. He started talking about America almost every day. America, America, America. At the point he went to, apply for the visa and they denied him. So he kept talking about it. I said, okay, I'll do what I can do, because then I worked at the American school. So visa was nothing to me. So what I did was I got in touch with someone I know in the embassy, and we did everything we could, provided all the documents, including my own, everything I had, I put there for him. So his document was completed, and he went back to the embassy, and the visa was given to him. I think they gave him 5 years. 5 years business visa. That's what they gave him. So after this visa, he wanted to leave immediately. I said, no, hold on, because I normally come during the summer. I said, let's go during the summer. He said, oh, he has another business to do, that I should go ahead and go. So I came here first. I came here alone for that summer, and he came after 3 weeks or so. He came to join me. And when he got to America, the plan was for him to come straight to where I had rented. But I didn't know he had family. So they rerouted everything and asked him to come to Baltimore where they lived. So prior to this time, he had already told me about them. I mean, I found out somehow. Someone here told me that, oh, do you know your husband has a brother? So I asked for the man's address, and I went to see the man before he came. So, initially they were like, oh, you're so nice, you're beautiful, you're this, they said all kinds of good things about me, but I didn't know what was in their mind. So when my husband came, he went straight to them, and I had to go meet him there. When we got there, a lot of people came to welcome him in his brother's house, and they were asking the brother, oh, how did you do this? How were you able to bring 2 people at the same time? Hey, can you show us the way? Can you just let us know how you did it? That was when I realized that he had told everybody that he was the one that did the visa for my husband and I. And I was just laughing that day. I didn't say anything. I was just sitting at that table, just laughing. And, people were just asking him so many things. He looked like a local hero. He looked like somebody who knows somebody. And, he was just telling them, oh, I'm going to give you that gist later. Just remind me. I'm going to tell you how it happened later. I'm going to give you that connection later. So we're there for a few days. Then I came back to Maryland. And during that time that we were there, I noticed something. What I noticed was that they tried to distance my husband from me. They tried to divide us. They didn't want us to be together. They tried so hard to make sure we don't sleep in the same room. They tried to do, just to, like, I was just sitting aside, like, I was just worried. I said, what are they trying to do? But it didn't still occur to me. I said, okay, maybe because their house is too small. So I just sat on my own. I didn't, bother about where to stay or where not to stay. We stayed for a few days. Then we came back to Maryland where I rented a place. And from there, every time they will call him, they will, like in a day, they'll be on the phone with him like for hours. And I was wondering what they talked about. And each time they called him, he would take the phone outside and they would talk and talk and talk. I'll look out, I'll see him walking around and still on the phone. But I didn't put any meaning to it. I said, well, he's not seen them for a very long time. So this is the time for them to bond as a family. I didn't know they were planning. They were making other plans for him. So eventually, they called for a meeting. That was weeks after. And when we got to that meeting, it was there that they openly told me they appreciated me for bringing their brother. And the eldest man in their group told me, no, let me take that back. When we went for that meeting, guys, I couldn't believe what I saw. He had more than 50 family members here. I'm not kidding. I mean, this house was packed. I did not count, but if I should count, nothing less than 50 people, with the children included. So I was like, what type of people are this? But normal me, I was still laughing about, trying to be nice to everybody and everything. And we were there. They were there. And then this old man stood up and asked everybody to introduce themselves. And I introduced myself as so. I added their last name and they all started laughing at me. It was just like a giggle or giggling. I was like, what is wrong? And I said, maybe I did not pronounce their last name right. So I pronounced it again and they laughed again. But I was like, okay, whatever is happening today, I need to see it. So this old man stood up and was like, thank you for bringing our brother to America. We really appreciate you. We've been trying to bring him all this while. We've tried every means to get him here, but we've not been able to get him. So we just want to say thank you to you for bringing him. And we want you to also know that your marriage is ending today. Guys, whenever I tell this story, people ask me, are you sure that's what he said? Or you just thinking that's what he said? No, that's what he said. He said, thank you for bringing our brother. We've tried so many times to bring him and we couldn't, but thank you for bringing him. But we want you to know that the marriage is ending here today. At first, I thought they were joking. I thought they were playing. But guys, that was the end of that marriage. That same day, I left without my husband. Yeah. First of all, before then, some nights before then, my wedding ring disappeared from my fingers. I was just sleeping and I woke up, I didn't see the ring again. And they said, oh, look under the table, look under the chair. Maybe you left. I said, no. This ring was a tight ring, very tight. So I don't even know how they took it out of my hand because I normally don't sleep deep, especially when it's not my house. So I don't know how they got this ring out of my hand because they took that ring. They can never say they did not take that ring. I woke up and the ring was gone. That was a few days before the meeting that messed up the whole thing. So that was how they took this man away. They took him away and they never looked back. I kept calling everybody that I know. I called that man. I called the elderly lady there. I called everybody, his cousins that were in that meeting. No, I didn't have their number, but I was just calling I called 3 people. I think I called his brother, I called the elderly lady, and I called the elderly man because I had their numbers. But at the point, I spoke with someone else because that person, I don't know, maybe felt pity and called me. And I was asking that lady, I said, why did you people do what you did? He said, well, the thing is that, we've been looking for a way to get him here, this and that. I said, but should that be a reason why you destroy his marriage? And this person really was not able to talk to me. So after a few weeks of my husband living with them, he suddenly called me and said, oh, I want to come back. I'm sorry that I did what I did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And like every other woman would do, I said, that's no problem. You can come back. He came back to the house, stayed for another few weeks, and then told me, oh, I have to go back to Togo to see to the business. I hear the boys are not really doing well. I said, but we're leaving in a few weeks, so we're supposed to go back. That's what I thought. I said, but we're leaving soon, so why don't you wait until we go? He said, no, that he will quickly go and come back. I said, okay. So the day he was traveling, I made a suitcase for him. I asked him what he wanted. He said, just take me one shirt, one pant, just one underwear, one singlet, one shoe. And that was what I did. I packed his things inside the smallest suitcase and I left the house. I asked him if he wanted me to follow him to the airport. He said no. So I went to the little work I was doing then and I left the house. So by the time I came back, everything was gone. Every clothes that he owned, even all his suitcases were all gone. This man took everything, and that was when I realized that he came back that second time so he can get his things. Because when they took him away the first time, he didn't take most of his things. He just took few clothes that he smuggled into the car outside. So he didn't take all his things. So when he came back the second time, it was for him to just get his things. So that was when he had the opportunity to take everything. He took all his things, all his clothes, down to the flip-flops, and he left. I came back to an empty room. It's like, where is everything? What happened here? I couldn't reach him on the phone because, he was in Togo. So I suppose he will call me when he gets there. So a few days he called me. And in those days, we used calling cards. That was why I did not know where he was calling from. So he called me with a calling card and the number still showed a foreign number. It didn't show Togolese number, but it showed a foreign, like somebody calling from outside. So I said, okay, it's a calling card. And I said, why did you take all your clothes? He said, oh, I took them so that I can just give them out so that when I come back, I buy new clothes. At first, it didn't really make sense to me because we're supposed to be going back. So you don't have enough time to buy more clothes. But I said, okay. He's a well-to-do person, so it's not like he doesn't have the money to buy those. I said, okay, no problem. So, not knowing that this man was here in America. This man was here in America, but he kept calling me with calling cards. And he kept hiding like that until months. And after some months, I found out that he was truly, truly here in America, living with another woman. A woman he had married to give him green card. A lot of people ask me, why didn't you report him? Why didn't you, go file a case against him? You would have gotten your green card with that. I said, well, I don't want to do that. And I didn't do that. If I had done that, I would have gotten my green card more than 20 years ago. But I suffered, I allowed myself to go through that pain of suffering without papers for a long time. Just because I wanted to be nice. If I wanted to be one of these fast women, I would just, report him. And that will categorize me as a battered woman. I will even lie on him. And being a battered woman, some organizations will pick up the case and bam, I'll get my green card then. But I decided to just leave everything to God. So this is the story of how this man came to America, relocated with a woman, and married to the woman. Though he's not married to the woman anymore. And that's why he's calling every time to beg. But it will be foolish of me. it would be stupid of me to go back. Even if he's the last man on earth, I'm willing to stay. Take care of myself, take care of my children. Marriage is good, but marriage is not the ultimate. I keep telling women, if I had been with that family, I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved in my life. I kid you not. If I had been with him, if I had continued in that marriage, I wouldn't have gone anywhere, because this is a man that would have put me right under the carpet. Even now that we're not together, he still calls me and tell me, "Oh, why are you always on the like he wants to control me?" And I'm like, "You have no right to even talk. All you can do now is go get your child. Try and get this child out, because you did not sign the adoption papers. You did not sign anything that they forced me to sign. You still have your right as the father to get him out, get her out." But because these adoptive parents are diabolic, and everybody keeps telling me, "Oh, they've sealed him. He doesn't even have any feeling for this child." I don't believe in all that. But when I look at the whole thing happening, I feel like maybe they are right. Because how can you just keep calling me every time? "Have you heard anything about our daughter? How is she doing?" At a point, I connected you to them. I gave you their number. You started talking to them, and the next thing, they bought you over and told you all kinds of lies that made you try to hate me that time. They told him, "Oh, you that child is not even your child." They told him, "Oh, she even tried to seduce my husband, and my husband this and that and this," and he believed all they told him. At a point, it was when they dribbled him for a while that he realized that they were lying to him, and he came back and said, "I'm sorry. These people told me this and they told me." I said, "Well, it's your fault to believe them. If a couple could take a child from a sick woman, they could do anything. If a woman can take a fellow woman's child and still stand on her right without feeling pity, without feeling remorseful, without any human sympathy, then that woman can do anything. That man can do anything." So he's been calling to ask me to try to, reconcile and things like that. But like I always say, marriage is not the ultimate. Marriage is not the ultimate. That you are married doesn't make you a special person. And that you are not married doesn't make you a bad person. And that's what people, that's how they categorize you. Once you don't have a man, it's like you're useless. It's like you're wayward. It's like, that takes me back to something that used to happen in that church, the bigger one, the one before the last one. There, whenever I go to church, and sometimes I just want to say hi to a man, and maybe just standing with the man for 5 minutes, their wives will just show up from any corner, because they have that phobia for any woman that is single. They are scared that you take their husband. So whenever you are there to say hi, they run to come there and stand beside you and, try to protect their man. But marriage is not the ultimate. I'm not saying that I'm not open for marriage. If I see a good, God-fearing person, I may just give it another try. But as it is right now, I'm having fun. It's not easy to, be by yourself, and against all odds, you're thriving in what you're doing. You have good health. Your children are doing okay. It's not every day that you see such things. So when I see myself in this situation, I just give God the praise. Because what about if I had decided to get into depression when my husband left, and I decided to mess my life up by maybe drinking or smoking or doing something? Because I was much younger then. I could have just been deceived. I could have just been, thrown into something. But I thank God, and I thank my late parents who were always there talking to me every time on the phone. This is not the end of life. Try to get yourself together. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about what is happening. So this is the story about my ex-husband and his family. Yeah, that's the first family and the last family I'll see that will do such thing. I've never seen people do. I know families sometimes are wicked to their in-laws or to people, but not to this extent. Not to the extent of pushing me out when they knew I was pregnant. Not to the extent of not even putting themselves in my shoes. And I see some of them these days and they can't even stand looking at me. I see them, I still say hi. There's a particular one among them that I still see like every time. I always say, "How are you doing?" She be, "Oh, I'm fine." And each time I see her, I give glory to God because she never sees me in a bad way, shape. She always see me dressed up. So I see her most of the times and I just look at her like, you think I would have died. And they pushed their brother because he's still roaming about. He has his paper and everything, but his marital life is zero, and it will be zero forever. I told him that. And in that family, as in general, their marital lives is just zero too. They are facing their own. Because you can't break somebody's marriage and expect your children or your children's children to have good marriages. No, it's affecting them too. Because that day I cried. I cried and I told them, you people doing this to me is not acceptable. God will judge this case. And I'm sure God is judging. I'm not proud of whatever it is they're going through, but I know that there's karma. That's just my that's just my comfort. There is karma, and karma has taken its course over what they did to me. Because the man is not even married yet. He has gone through 3 marriages since that time. Three. 3 marriages. So this is the story of that family. The evil family that will never see good. They will never see good. I keep saying it. They won't see good thing because God gave them gold like me and they threw me out. And now they're regretting it and they'll keep regretting. So this is all about my husband's family, my ex-husband's family. And I'll stop here today. Next time, I'm going to tell another story from any questions that I get. This question was actually directed to me. What is going on with your family, husband's family? Are you hearing about them? Do you hear from them and things like that? And that's why I told the story. So until next time, this is Dorothy, and this is my story.